Wait, what is this? Better check it out. Ender IO. Oh yeah, that's the mod I'm gonna spotlight. Good day everybody, DaeDoug here, and welcome to a mod spotlight on Ender IO. Okay, so yeah, quite cool. So this mod, Ender IO, it's made by CrazyPants. CrazyPants is a really cool guy, and he's done some fantastic work on this mod. It's so huge. There are so many possibilities with this mod. It's just crazy. Okay, so I am using version 0.11.3. I think it's build 330, and well, at the moment this is considered a beta release of Ender IO. However, CrazyPants has stated, unless he finds any more bugs, he'll probably release this as the first stable release 1.0. So that's why the title says that in the video. So CrazyPants, really cool guys, done some fantastic work. Very nice guy. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Just a heads up before we start, I will have to take breaks to build all the examples. There are a lot you can do with this mod, and it takes time to set up examples. So I'll take some breaks here and there to build the examples for you. Now you can see there's already quite a lot of stuff here, so let's get started. First off, I want to get you all a little psyched about this mod. If you haven't seen it before, then this will probably be really cool to you. Over here, I have a wall. Okay, there's nothing here. I could put stone bricks here. I just want to show you that there isn't really anything here. This piece of stone brick is only for this lever right here. Now there isn't anything down here either, just hardened clay. Okay, and you can see that this says conduit facade. Interesting, huh? Yes. Okay, so, you know, we've got a redstone furnace, no items, it's out of power. Same with the pulverizer, no items here either, and it's also out of power. This chest is empty. MES system is out of power. In this chest, we've got some ores. And we've got an energy cell here. What happens if we flip this lever? The system turns on. The ME controller is working. Gold ore is coming into this chest. From this chest. It's pulverizing it. It's putting it into this furnace. What happens here? It directly goes away. Where does it go? It goes into this chest. Now here I have an ME cable connected right here. And the gold lands in the ME chest right here. I have an ME cable, I have power, I have redstone. I have items moving. Yes, that's what you can do with Ender IO. This is all happening within a bundle right here. And we'll get into how you do this later. Let's turn the system off. What happens now? Everything stops. Nothing is going on anymore. This ME controller will eventually run out of power. Very cool. Isn't that pretty cool? Oh yeah. So, let's get started, shall we? First off, let's talk about some power gen. Now, Ender IO uses, by default, redstone flux as its power system, I guess you'd say. However, you can configure it in the settings to display MJs instead. Okay, so what we have here is a redstone energy cell, which is full, by the way, and we have a photovoltaic cell on top. Hope that's how you pronounce it. This is made like so. You're going to need some energetic alloys, and we'll look into all this later. So don't worry about the recipes for now, guys. This will produce 10 redstone flux per tick, or 1 MJ per tick. So you can connect this to a redstone energy cell, for example, and it's going to fill up with RF. You could also connect it to Buildcraft pipes, and it would output MJs. Very, very cool. Just to show off that this actually works, let's go ahead and grab a Redstone energy cell, another one. I'll put that right here on the back. It's empty, and I put one of these on top, and it slowly starts to fill up. Very, very cool. Kind of solar panels, but for MJs and RF. Very, very cool. Okay, so here we also have the Stirling generator. Now, this guy pretty much does the same thing as the Buildcraft Stirling engine would do. You have the Stirling engine from Buildcraft, and this produces the exact same amount of power as the Stirling engine. However, it's a block. It would output the power on any side, while the Buildcraft engine would only output on one side, the top, in this picture at least. So go ahead and put some coal in it, and this has redstone control. You could set it to only be active with signal, so turn this on, it's going to start working. Over here you've got an internal storage, which the Buildcraft engine kind of has, but it's a little smaller. Anyways, the redstone control, you could set it to this, it would turn off now. It's still going to like burn the coal, but it won't produce any more power unless I turn the redstone signal off. It's going to start producing power again. Okay, so that's the Stirling generator. You might wonder what this is for, and that is what we will get into over there. But first, reservoirs. These are very cool. I like to call this a basic block in the mod. Not sure what you would call it, but I'll put it in the basic blocks. And what this water reservoir does, well, go ahead and grab yourself some of these reservoirs, place down 4 of them, and they will form a multi-block structure. That's what I've done over here. Now, if you put 2 blocks of water into this, it'll form an infinite water source. So, just to show it, I'm gonna break it, and you'll see a little water drop on top. Fill it up with the 1 bucket, nothing happens. 2 buckets, it's going to constantly fill itself. Now, what you can do is hook up a fluid conduit or any type of fluid pipe or fluid duct or whatever. Go ahead and set it to extract liquid, and that is what it's going to do. So it's extracting, and it constantly fills itself up again. Very cool. Now, you can also set it to self-extract by simply right-clicking with a Buildcraft compatible wrench, like the Yeta wrench or the crescent hammer. It's going to automatically drain the liquid into adjacent conduits or fluid pipes or whatever. So that's very cool. Very compact way of generating water. You could use this instead of an aqueous accumulator, for example. Now, let's talk about the Sag Mill. The Sag Mill is basically what it does is it grinds items. Now, to explain this, I'm going to have to open up the interface. This is how it looks. Cool. Now, we've also got some items here. We've got a double-layered capacitor, automatic capacitor, and some iron. Now, these are crafting components and stuff you can use in Ender.io. So, you can check the recipes in Not Enough Items. Now, first off, this grinds items. You can check recipes by simply clicking on recipes here. It's going to use NEI to show you all the different recipes and stuff that it can use. It uses the Forge or Dictionary, for example, for copper and tin and all those different things. And everything that can be pulverized, you can put in the Sag Mill pretty much, and some other things as well. One thing that's very cool with this is that you can there's a file in the config folder of Ender.io, an XML file, which you can edit and you can put in your own recipes. So, if we take a look here, for example, if you pulverize a nether quartz, or, well, if you Sag Mill it, you will get 2 nether quartz, a nether quartz dust, and a 5% chance of getting Certus quartz. So you could specify all of this stuff if you want to set up your own recipes. And we could take a look at what iron does. Iron will give you, uses the dictionary here, as you can see. Could see, there you go. You get 2 iron powder. You get 1 tin powder with a 5% chance, 1 pulverized ferrous with a 10% chance, and you have a 15% chance of getting some cobblestone. And that makes sense, because it's, you know, iron in stone. Okay, very cool. So we could go ahead and put this to here. This also has redstone control, so keep that in mind. With signal, without signal, or never active, or always active, you can set it to whatever you want to. And also, as you can see, it eats up the item and then it cooks it, so keep that in mind. If you put something in here, it will eat your item. So that's one thing. So you could keep just sag milling this. We've also got here a power bar, and you'll see these in a lot of the basic machines from this mod, and this can by default store 100,000 RF. Very cool. However, if we go ahead and take a double layer capacitor and put it in this upgrade slot, it's going to double this. Double layer, double. Now this can store a lot more. You can see we've got some cobblestone here with the 15% chance. It can now store 200,000. If I take this out, we're going to lose all that power, so don't do that. You can also put the octatic capacitor in, which will 10 double it, so you'll get 1 million RF as at a max, which is a lot of power for a machine, that is. Okay, so that's how the Sag Mill works, and I'll post tutorials on how you can, you know, add your own recipes, because that's a very, very cool thing. You can also see that this modifies the speed of the machine. On the last note, you can see the amount of power it takes to do different operations. So to pulverize iron, it would steal 400 MJs. That's just a quick thing. So there you go, got some ferros and tin, lots of cool stuff. Okay, next up, we've got this alloy smelter here. Now, the alloy smelter is an important part of the crafting part of Ender.io. What this does is it will smelt stuff and combine different alloys and metals and materials. Same thing here. If you open up the interface, you have the redstone control, you've got the upgrade slot, you can use the same upgrades, and you've got your power. Down here you have a button. At the moment, it's set to furnace only. This means that this will smelt everything, but it won't create any metals. Everything that can be smelted in a vanilla furnace will be smelted here. You can set it to all smelting, meaning now it'll try to make an alloy if it's possible. If that's not possible, it's going to try to smelt the stuff that's in here. And you can set it to alloys only, meaning it won't try to smelt anything that's not going to craft an alloy. Okay, so just a few things you can make with this. Let's get all these materials. To make an alloy, go ahead and put the ingredients in. One thing you can make requires gold, glowstone, and a piece of redstone. Now, it's set to alloys only right now. This means that when I put this in, it's going to start crafting the alloy like so. I'm going to set it to all smelting for now. Also, going to grab this octatic capacitor, put it inside here, which will make this a little faster. And that crafts the alloy. Very cool. You also get some experience, and that's also modifiable in the XML file. And you can make recipes for the alloy smelter too. So that's very cool. Now, another alloy that you can make is this. Coal, silicon, and iron. This will make electric steel. Very cool. And finally, you've got 1 iron and 2 redstone, which will also make an alloy. So that's pretty much how you make alloys. You've got the recipe here as well, which is very cool. Nether quartz, you can smelt into fused quartz. 4 will get you 1 fused quartz. So it's quite expensive. Keep that in mind. I'm going to hang on to these. Here, we've got some sand. Now, sand, if you put a piece of sand into here, it's going to get you quite clear glass. And that counts as an alloy. Quite clear glass is made if you set this to all smelting or alloys only. However, if I set this to furnace only, of course it would create normal vanilla glass. So that's just a quick run through of the alloy smelter. You can make your own recipes. Again, tutorial coming up on that some other day. So let's move on to the painting machine. This painting machine will paint stuff. Makes sense. Again, similar interface. Get the power bar, upgrade slot and redstone control. And with this you can paint a whole bunch of things. You can paint your fences, your fence gates, the stairs, slabs, and you can also paint fused quartz frames. Now, I forgot to tell you what the fused quartz does, but I'll show you that in just a minute. Now, you can get any block, any solid block. Now, greatwood planks, for example, doesn't count as a solid block, so you couldn't use those. However, that's an upcoming feature as well, the ability to specify IDs that aren't considered solid blocks. However, diamond blocks are considered solid blocks. Go ahead and put any block in this here, in this slot with a painting brush, and put, I don't know, some fences in. It's going to paint those, and you'll get a new block with a new ID called painted fence, and you can also see what it's painted with. So we've got some diamond fences right here. I mean, how cool is that? And a little bit of a graphical bug, but it, you know, updates and fixes it, but very, very cool. So let's see what else you can paint. You can go ahead and try to paint your fence gate. You can go ahead and try to paint your stairs, slabs, and like I said, the fused quartz frame. So let's try these. We've got a fence gate here. Works like a normal fence gate, but it's diamond. We've got diamond stairs, which is extremely fancy. And finally, I wanted to show you these two. These two were made in the alloy smelter, and if you put some fused quartz down, it looks like glass pretty much. You can see we have some small like blurry squares here, which is cool, and connected textures, which is really nice. Now, you also have the quite clear glass, which looks similar, but without the little squares. You could paint these. Take this, right-click on your fused quartz, and boom. The edges now look like the edges of the block that you painted this with. Now, this works with the quite clear glass as well, as you can see. And you could go ahead and, you know, paint this with a different block. I could go ahead, take some sand and paint, I don't know, I could repaint this with sand, and now I could make it look like this if I wanted to. So the possibilities are endless with these blocks. Very, very cool. So that's that. That's a quick run through of the painting machine as well. Now there's one more thing that you can paint, which I'll get into later over there. I haven't built it yet, but we'll get into it later. Okay, so here we've got a really, really cool thing. We've got the capacitor bank, and this will basically store power. Let's grab these as well. Go ahead and place one of these down. Okay, we've got a capacitor bank. You can see Wayla up there is telling us that the max input-output is 100 megajoules per tick. If I open it up, you can see that it says 1000 RF per tick. So it's a little different than you're used to. With Wayla, it's like bugged or something. Not than you're used to. Sorry, that's not proper English. But this is interesting actually. It shows it wrong up there. This is the actual numbers. max input output is 1000 RF per tick and not 500 MJs, 100 MJs per tick. So that's a bug that I'm going to report to CrazyPants right there. Ignore Wayla, look in the interface instead. Okay, so what do we have in here? We have a power meter. It can store a maximum of 5 million RF. Now, that is quite a lot of power. If you take a look at the resonant energy cells, they can store 50 million, and this one thing can store 5 million, and this is quite a lot cheaper. Some tin and some upgrades, it's quite a lot cheaper than that one. So what does this do? Well, let's go ahead and put down a creative energy cell next to this, and this is going to start filling up pretty quickly, because this can input 1000 RF per tick, which is a lot of power. Now, you can set it to only input power with a signal, which doesn't seem to be working. Actually, okay, right, so let's redo this. If we have a capacitor bank right here, I'm gonna put it here instead. You can set it to input only with a signal, without a signal, never, or always. Now, if I put this down, it's still going to input, and the reason for that is you have to use conduits. I could use these guys, the Redstone ones, if I wanted to. And okay, that's a bug. Uh-oh, CrazyPants, what are you doing? Anyways, the point is, you're able to set it so that it'll only input with a signal and only output with a signal, or not output, well, output without a signal, and if you apply a redstone signal, it wouldn't output anymore. Basically, that's the point. Now, what you can do as well is you can put another one of these next to this, and this is a completely modular block. Now, what this shows you now is this. Yeah, everything doubles pretty much. This can now store 10 million RF. Yeah, 10 million. It can output 2000, input 2000. All the numbers pretty much double. Can put another one down. Now it's 300. Oh, actually, sorry, Wayla does show it correctly. I was confused, but yes, the numbers Wayla shows you are correct. It's only in the wrong format. That's it. Sorry for the confusion there, but we have 4 now. It's 4,000. You can now store 20,000. This means that you could pretty easily put down 10 of these, and it's going to stack up to 50 million. So we've got 10 blocks here that pretty much can do the same as a resonant energy cell can, and this can also input a lot more now. If I put a creative cell down, you can see that it inputs a lot faster than it did before. However, it doesn't fill up as quickly, but it inputs faster because we now have 10 times more storage as well. So what are these slots for now? That's the last thing I'm going to talk about with this block. These are charge slots. Anything that can be charged with RF or MJ, you can go ahead and put in here, and it's going to start filling them up. And you know, you can fill up multiple things at the same time. Some things charge faster than others. This charged up really fast. This can store 2.5 million. This can only store 400,000. So you can see it doesn't really, it matters on the tool itself, not on the block. Okay, so that's the capacitor bank. Very cool way of storing power. You know, you can make your modular storage blocks. You can build them however you want to. Very, very cool. Okay, so that's the basic blocks in this mod. Now let's get into the main focus in this mod, which is conduits. Now, there are quite a lot of different conduits. Okay, we've got some redstone conduits right here. I'm gonna show you these first. We also got some fluid conduits. We've got some item conduits and some power conduits. Now, all of these are extremely cool and useful, and it's gonna take some time to explain it all, but we better get started. We've got some redstone conduits right here. Now, what do these do? Well, they transfer redstone signals. These are the very basic redstone conduits, and I'll play a redstone signal, and it's simply going to emit redstone signals in all directions from where, well, basically, yeah, all the adjacent blocks to the conduit will be basically turned on, like so. It doesn't transfer the signal and make the blocks touching it powered, like the red alloy wire, for example, does, and redstone itself. It only turns on the blocks adjacent to the actual conduit. Okay, so very, very basic conduit. You pretty much just go ahead and place it down like so. It's nothing complicated, really. What you're used to with Minecraft. Very cool. Okay, so next up we've got the insulated RS conduit, and this is a little bit more advanced. Let's go ahead and steal this one. This one is can do quite a few more things than the basic one. This one won't emit signals just to adjacent blocks. If I go ahead and disable this output, which I'm going to show you how to do later, it wouldn't turn the lamps on. Right now, nothing happens. If you place a conduit down, one of these, next to a piece of stone or a block that doesn't emit or receive redstone signals, it won't connect. The only way you can connect this is by taking a wrench, like a crescent hammer or a wrench. You right click on the side of the conduit that you want to connect with the block. So I want to connect this side. I right click there, it connects. That's what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to right click right there, and it'll connect up to the stone block. And now it's going to try to emit signals here and transmit, well, yeah, emit signals coming from this block into the cabling. So if you look here, we have a small little conduit bundle block thing. If you right click on this, this will open up the configuration for your bundles or for your conduits. You can set it to different modes. You could set it to in/out, meaning it's going to try to both transmit and receive power. And you can also set it to disabled, which disconnects it. And then if you right click with your wrench again, it again switches the mode back to in/out. So that's pretty much the only mode you have. Now you can change the coloring of the redstone signal, kind of like Mine Factory reloaded cabling or red power project ready cabling. But now that this is connected, I can go ahead and switch this on. This is red, as you can see. You have a little colored thing going around the bundle right here, and all of these outputs are red. Now inside this interface you can change the coloring. So now this is green, meaning it won't receive the red signal. You can also right click with your wrench on the color, which will change it. So now I've changed it to brown, meaning only these guys with brown will turn on. So that's pretty cool. Okay. So you could build something like this. I have a red, green, and brown here, and red, green, and brown here, with the right lamps. And you'll see that it works like you'd expect. So that's a pretty cool feature. Next up, we've got some fluid ducts, fluid conduits. Your very basic fluid conduit, it's just called fluid conduits. What would you expect? Okay. So we have this fluid conduit right here. Now, this This thing works the same as the other conduits. You can go ahead and right click here and you can set the different modes. So now it's set to in/out, meaning it can only, meaning it can receive liquids or output liquids, which it can't really do, but yeah. You can set it to extract liquids, and you can, specify to extract only with a signal, without a signal, never, or always. And you can set it to insert, and there aren't any options right there. It'll pretty much be able to receive liquids pretty much to this tank. You can also go ahead and right click here if you want to disable it, just like the other one. You can change the modes like so. So now it's set to extract, and I'm gonna set it to without a signal. If I go ahead and put some water into here now, it's going to drain the water. And you can see that the conduit, if you look closely, has some blue lines right next to the white lines here. That means that no other liquids will be able to travel through these while the water is traveling through them. So if I, built a, let's say, a big network of this stuff and connect some cable links now, they wouldn't connect because this only supports water. However, I could go ahead and open up the connection by simply right clicking like so, and now water will go into these conduits as well. So that's very cool. And it always seeks an inventory, and that's just the way you're used to these things working. Okay, next up, I'm going to talk about the same. Wait a second, these are the wrong conduits. I failed. If we put some of these down, the normal conduits, these are very basic and pretty cheap, and they have downsides. If you do the same thing here, you want it to export liquid, and you need it to go down and up. What will happen? Well, gravity will have an effect on the liquids. So if I, go ahead and put a bucket of water into here, it's going to code these to only accept water, so I wouldn't be able to connect any more conduits like so, and no other liquids would be able to go through. But the water isn't going into here. The water stays down here, and you can kind of see that if you look very closely, that the water is inside these conduits, but not these. Now, if I put another bucket into here, you can kind of see the liquid rising here. If I put another bucket in, it's going to rise all the way up, and now the pressure from this water in the tank trying to go down will force the liquid inside the pipes already to be pushed up into this tank, and once it's in the tank, it won't go out again. Very cool. Now, if you have higher tanks, of course, you're going to need to fill up these with more water for it to have an effect. So I just put 3 buckets into here, and that was enough for some water to go into here. I put 3 buckets into here, and that's not enough. If I put another one in, now it's going to start filling this up, and the 3 buckets are still inside these conduits. Okay. Next up, we've got the pressurized fluid conduits, and these work more kind of the way you're used to fluid conduits working, or liquid pipes, or fluid ducts, or whatever. These will always push the liquid. I can go ahead and set this. You have the same settings, no difference. They will always push the liquid. Now, these also can transfer double the amount of liquid at the same time, and it also exports liquids from inventories at the double speed. Now, these speeds or velocities are configurable in the config, like a lot of other things in Ender.io. You can configure pretty much everything. You can configure power output of the Stirling generator and the photovoltaic panel and everything. But back to the point. These will always push the liquids, meaning if I put a bucket of water into this tank, it's going to push the water all the way into this tank without any water or anything getting stuck down here. Very cool. And again, it seeks the closest available inventory. So the water will go into here, but then it realizes, oh wait, I can't be here. There's no inventory. This is a dead end. And then it goes back and finds its way back here, and this is, of course, calculated while it's happening. Okay, so it's time for a little break, and I'm going to continue building the rest, and now we're going to talk about the item conduits and the power conduits. So I'll be back in a very short moment. Okay, so it turns out the video is quite long already, so I'm going to make two parts out of this video, out of the spotlight. So this has been part 1, and I'll be back in part 2 to show you what you can do with the item conduits, the energy conduits, how you can use all the different conduits together, how you can make the conduits look like anything, how you can access your ME storage from like 64 blocks away, 48 blocks, or any distance you can configure that, how you can access any inventory, any interface from a distance. I will also show you the power of Ender.io. Okay, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in part 2. So stay tuned for that. That will be up tomorrow, if you're watching this the day it was uploaded. So again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.